Hello everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. This is a live broadcast tonight. I have a dear friend on. He's running for re-election for selectman. Please welcome my friend, Charlie Bletzer.
You forgot me already.
Oh my God, my mind is going 10 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, and I went blank.
I get it. Well, you know something's because you're
Charlie,
excited. You're excited like I am, Karen, and
So
I really
stupid.
am. It's my
Yeah.
third time on your show, and
Yeah.
I can't believe it's gone this fast. But
Charlie, I am so, Mr.
listen,
God.
I'm so excited to be here tonight
I
with you.
know.
And I appreciate you asking me to come on to talk about some exciting things that.
Charlie,
are
I've
going on.
watched you now for quite a while. I knew you before you ran for selectman, and a lot of the things that you do now, you did before.
Yes.
Without being a selectman. You did it quietly.
Right.
You did it from your heart. And you just don't talk. You're a man of action. How is the campaign going?
The campaign is really going well. I get out early. I actually started in December, started some fundraising, and because unfortunately you need money to get your message out. And you know, I want to do some mailings, and you know, you need signs and everything else that goes
Right.
with it. So it's getting your message out, and it does cost money to do that. So, but I have a great committee. I have some really important people.
Wonderful people.
Some elected people, some not elected people, but everybody on my committee is involved in the town. They're all involved in the town, and they all have a stake in the town. So that's
volunteering.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm humbled to have them supporting me. So so it's exciting.
Well,
It
you
really is.
earned it, Charlie.
Yep. Well, you know, I learned, I was brought up to help people. That's my father. Work hard. And my father always said, never forget where you come from, and always try and help people. And I've tried to emulate what he instilled in myself and my brothers and sister.
He would be proud of you.
He would, and that's the only. He never saw me get elected. He passed away just before that, but he's there. He's in my mother. They're both in spirit with me, and I know he's proud. So
I met you, or I knew of you. I saw you at the courthouse.
Yep.
You were a wonderful deputy there.
Yep, assistant chief.
Assistant,
court
yeah,
officer, yep.
and very professional. You helped a lot of people there, a lot of mothers,
Yep.
a lot of kids.
Yeah, we saw. It's funny. A lot of people. And I don't want to talk. You know, this show's going to go very quick. But one thing about working in the courts, a lot of court folks don't like to work in the community that they live in, because you see some things, and I felt differently. I really enjoyed working in my community, because, and I learned this from my father. My father, by the way, was a judge, and when he retired, he talked about how you can help somebody with your job, and that's what he liked about his job, is being able to help people. So working in my community, I was able to help people, and just a simple thing like you see them come in, you know them, and that maybe their son or daughter maybe has a criminal issue.
Mothers crying.
Maybe there's an addiction situation. They they're section them for mental health or addiction reasons, or maybe there's a domestic issue, and just to be able to be there and hold their hand and help them out.
You were never cruel,
yeah.
Charlie. You always had your heart on your sleeve.
I tried to be. Thank you for saying that, because that means a lot. Because, and I always say, you know, people talk about this job as a selectman being thankless. Sometimes the court job could be thankless, but when somebody thanks you for being there, like you're doing right now, it means the world.
Oh,
it means
absolutely.
The world to me. Yep.
I was sitting beside somebody the other day, didn't notice, and I looked at his hat and it said Vietnam, and I thanked him. And, you know, even though it was years and years, eons ago, you thank that person, a veteran, for what they've done, because it is a sacrifice. and you've always understood that. We will get to that further
Yes,
on
yep,
down. But you're having a gathering at East Bay Grill pretty soon.
Yes, yeah, I've already had my kickoff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see it up there. It's yeah, March 15th. It's a week from Saturday, March 15th, 2 to 6. It's going to be out in the tent. The tent, East Bay uses the tent.
nice.
They're going to be actually Sunday and Monday this year, 16th and 17th, for their St. Patrick's Day celebration.
Oh, nice.
All the Irish. So the tent, I'm going to do a big, I'm calling it Rock the Vote.
Love it.
Rock the Vote, and I'm trying to invite I'd love to get as many Plymouth voters there just to come down.
Anybody's welcome?
Everybody's welcome. Yep, everybody's welcome. We'll have some light hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah.
There'll be the outdoor bars will be open.
Yeah.
And I have great entertainment. I have good friends of mine, Steve Smith and the Nakeds. They're from Rhode Island.
Nice.
They're a 10-piece horn band they've been around for 50 years.
Wow.
And it's a phenomenal group of professional players, and they're going to entertain.
10-piece band.
10 pieces, yeah. And they have a sound guy, so it's quite a setup. And they're coming in. They're good friends of mine, and they're going to entertain everybody.
It's going to be like a wedding,
and
Charlie.
there'll be different candidates will be there, but my message is going to be, please get out and vote. And we're going to have a card with the QR code showing like we're going to publicize the early voting in the.
Talk about that.
Yeah, well, there's going to be I think there's 6 days of early voting. I'm going to have that schedule before then. And there's also how to get an application to vote by mail. And it's very important that we encourage people to do that. And I'll segue why it's so important.
Okay.
You know, we've consolidated our polling places. I know it's a controversial subject for some people, and I just want to explain the reason why that we voted for it, and it was a unanimous vote. At first, we were going from 14 to 4 precincts, and then I changed. The following week, I brought it back for
Well,
reconsideration.
you listened to the people.
Yes, and it was me too. I made a mistake.
Okay.
I voted wrong. I should have voted for Plan B, which included a 5th precinct,
Yeah.
a 5th voting place. Excuse me, not a precinct, a 5th polling place,
Yeah.
which was the South Elementary.
Right.
You know, for the Buttermilk Bay, for the people
Absolutely.
in the Wayside Plymouth. So we brought that back. I brought it back for reconsideration, and we passed that, and it was unanimous. And my reasoning for agreeing with this consolidation is because our clerk showed us the numbers that how much, like 50% of our voters are voting early or voting
I
by
do.
mail. Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, to consolidate, yeah, it does save a little bit of money, but that's not the main reason. Saving money is great, but it was this for the safety and security. It's more secure and safer for the public. And I say that it's much easier to control 5 polling places than it is to control 14 or 15 polling places.
Right, because
So-
you run all day.
Right.
All day, and
Yep.
things
So-
get through the cracks. And isn't it true, Marshville only has one, or was it Pembroke?
Marshville has one.
One place
Yeah,
to vote.
it's at the high school, and there's only one place.
Yeah,
And again, you know, the opponents of this will say, well, you know, we're 106 square miles, and they're right, but the opponents also will bring up that it hurts the elderly, the seniors, which I'm a senior and you're a
oh,
senior.
I am
and,
definitely.
But the handicap challenge, the handicap accessible folks, and the poor folks that might have a hard time getting around. So that's why I'm going to encourage, for those folks, mail-in voting is the way to go.
Yeah,
And if you come to my event, you can scan the code. It'll show you how to do it. the ballot comes to your house, and
It's really super
It's so
easy.
easy to do. And also, you can go online right now, and
Yeah, he's got it up
yeah,
there.
you can go
Yeah.
online, and it's just click the, and it shows you. I was with Kelly McElrath, which is our clerk magistrate.
I love her.
Yeah, and she's, she's trying to make it as easy as possible for these folks to do that. So I encourage that.
I go to town hall and vote early, and that's from May 7th through the 14th of May.
Right.
You can go right into town hall from any district you're in, any village, and just go in. You might be downtown, run into town hall and vote between those dates, 5/7 to 5/14.
Right. There's going to be the extra days. They're not definite yet. She's going to add some extra days.
Oh, really?
So I will get those.
Okay.
I believe we have to vote on them, but
All
so
right.
I'll have those. Hopefully for my event, I will have those. And
I can't. Oh my God! You've got a 10-piece band.
Yep. It's going to be Rock the Vote. It's called, and it's a fun event. There'll be other candidates that you can meet there too. And
Well, it's in a way, Charlie. Knowing you, it's a way to give back to the town. If you're having this event with a band and free hors d'oeuvres, it's a way to give back. I mean, that's not cheap.
Well, you know what? I've been lucky. I've had some good donations. I get some, good donors that are able to help with those kinds of things, and I'm able to do it. And the most important thing for me is I would love to see 100% of our voters come out and vote.
Oh, no kidding.
Okay, it's not going to happen.
No.
But even if normally we get 10 or 12%, if we could get 20, 25% even this year, and then maybe more next year, if we can start building up every year, it would just it just would make me so happy.
I've said this for years, and I've told each town manager, if you put something on the ballot that affects a person's pocketbook or asks a question about, socially, they'll come out.
Well, we proved that with the nip in.
Yep.
We proved that with the horse racetrack.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I didn't even like to talk about that because
Yeah. Oh, that's gone.
that's another subject that was never should never have been a subject. But anyway, that's. But with the voting, it's so important to vote, and I can't say that enough.
I missed one vote in my entire life. I was having a baby.
Yep. When I was 18, my father drove me to the annex on Brighton Ave in Brighton,
Oh, yeah.
and I had to vote for the draft.
Oh,
And I had vote. I had to sign up for the draft,
yeah.
and I had to sign up to vote
Yeah.
on my 18th birthday.
Weren't you excited?
I was excited, but
Yeah.
that's it. And I voted. I think I voted every year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Of course, it's.
But with the last thing on the voting is that if this doesn't work, and I said this at the meeting when we reconsidered and went to Plan B, you give us a couple of elections. Give us 2 elections.
You did say this.
And if it doesn't work, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and make a motion.
We have to do something.
To go back.
Yeah.
I'll make that promise. So.
Okay.
But I think that you're going to see an increase in percentages, and I think it's going to work. And Kelly is very innovative. She's got a thumb on the pulse. What's going around in the state. She talks to different clerks from different areas of the state. So she used all that data, and her assistant that she worked with. Was it Kyle?
Oh,
Yeah,
I forget.
I'm embarrassed,
Yes,
but
I think it is.
he worked hard
Yeah.
with her, and so I have to trust their judgment and support this. So
Absolutely, Charlie.
So anyway,
Well, you're adaptable.
yeah, no, it's
Okay. Do we have a phone call?
Yes, you do.
Oh, hello. The light didn't go off. I'm sorry, but I thought I heard clicking. Hello, you're on Talk of the Town.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Charlie.
Hello.
Charlie, I want to say it took a big man to say they were wrong and changed your vote when it came to the polling places. That's my first issue. My second issue is, well, it's not an issue, it's a question. I'd like to thank you for everything you do with the Downtown Businessmen's Association to try to, revitalize, the downtown and make it more pleasant experience for tourism.
Accessible.
And the other one is, back in 1971, I got my first gun permit. And it was a joke. I went into the probation department. They gave me a little piece of paper that said no record, and I brought it back to the police department. Now, that's not the way it is now. I mean, to get a gun permit, you have to go through so many investigations. The police department's probably a query check, and then you have to take a safety course.
I had to go through it.
Yeah, you have to go to a safety course. So people who have gun permits are responsible citizens, and I don't think that they should be restricted in where they should be, can carry guns. Maybe schools, I understand, but any other building, I think they should be allowed. And I'm going to let you go because, and Charlie, thanks for everything you do, and Karen, you too. So I will talk to you later.
Wait a minute, he wants to ask you a question.
No. I just want to thank you for recognizing that, and I'm going to respond. Last night we talked about the outdoor dining last night.
Thank you, Stevie.
And thank you, Steve. And
you're welcome.
And last night, I'm very supportive, and being in the restaurant business all my life, I understand. I own 2 places. I manage several other places, and most of my friends are in the restaurant business. It's a struggle out there right now. It's and I said it last night. The costs of exorbitant. They've gone up. The food, the liquor, utilities. We all know the utilities. What's happened with those. So the profit margin is very low. So last night, what I try to do, and I know I said last year that, you're going to have to start paying for, to have these parklets, and the town can't keep subsidizing.
Right.
But last night, knowing what I know and knowing what a tough winter, it's been a brutal winter.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, I know some of the most successful places in town, everybody, sometimes the bigger you are, the bigger the cost you are.
Oh,
so
yeah.
remember that. But, and all you have to do is look at, we have a place that has an orange sticker on the window, seized. It's out of business right now. And, I don't want to talk about that because, that's just a sad thing. And I feel for that person because she worked very hard in that business.
Oh, yes.
But with that being said, I try to get it, at least get it discounted, and the board didn't see it that way. And so it didn't work out for the downtown businesses, but for that want to do the outdoor dining. So they're going to have to make a decision. Is it worth it to? I think it's $2,400 to do the parklets. And I hope it is worth it to them, because I think outdoor dining is very important to the tourism.
So they're going to have to come up with $2,400.
Yeah, they have to make a decision. Is it worth it to do it? And I know we rely on these businesses, for the tourism. And with that being said, Steve brought that up. I'm very, very supportive. I'm trying to get the work with the DPW on getting the streets cleaned. We're trying to get a power wash program to get something done in April. I'm going to have to follow up on that. There's some plans. There's other plans. I know town manager Derek Brindisi has a plan to spruce up the downtown. You've seen those.
Yes.
Climate resiliency.
Yes.
And it will really,
with shade and all of that.
But it also with the brick sidewalks and thing. That's down the road.
Yeah.
And obviously we have to get the grant money to do that too. Yeah. But Memorial Hall, we're supporting Memorial Hall. Big time again, grant money, we need that. But that's going to take a couple of years to. They're doing a study. The engineers are going through that whole place.
Yeah.
And that. If anybody doesn't know what Memorial Hall and the Spire Center, do for the downtown. Go there when they're both have a show
Closed,
and see how busy everybody is.
Yeah,
So,
and when they're closed, it's terrible because people want to go.
yeah.
But the shows, how many shows do they do? They do a lot.
Yeah, I think Joe's got, I could be, I think it was, he's talking about 110 shows this year.
He wants to do more.
Yeah, and it's more coming. There's another
Yep.
promoter that he announced is coming in. We also, the Miss USA pageant is coming. They're taking like,
No,
they're taking 3
sir.
nights, like a couple of hundred rooms, 3 nights for the next 3 years. And I think it's in June.
Sir,
Yes,
that's
yep,
fabulous.
Yeah, so that's exciting. And that's going to put Plymouth on the map too.
Oh,
Yeah.
my, we need a convention center.
Yeah, we got to figure out where it's going to go. But to Steve's other comment, I think when he started talking about the guns, he was bringing up another.
I was going to bring it up. I was going to,
Yeah,
I
well-
mean, it's right on here, the gun controversy.
Well, again, it's an election year, and it's another controversial issue.
It's another
And-
controversial issue.
And there's been several.
Do you know
and-
there's 8,000 gun
Yep.
owners in
But
Plymouth?
my point to that was, one of my opponents sat in the public comment, get up in one of the meetings and kind of criticized us for our vote on the voting. And it's very easy to sit out there and do that, use that as like a political platform to attack the board. And my answer to him, and this is just how I feel too, is if you're going to be a leader, you've got to be able to make controversial
Both
decisions.
decisions.
You got to put your political stuff aside.
And it's not easy, Charlie.
You got to say what's in the best interest for the citizens of Plymouth. And I don't care, Republican, Democrat, I don't care what you are. It's all about Plymouth. This is a nonpartisan election, but it's all about Plymouth. So I thought about, and this is Article 12 now, that the chief, number one enforcement person, our expert.
I love him.
He's our expert,
Yeah.
and came to us after, and a lot of people probably didn't even know that the governor all of a sudden said there's no guns, weapons allowed in any municipal buildings or parks.
What about the Constitution, Charlie?
Well, before I get to that, so there's only one building. The only way you can truly keep weapons, and we do it at the courthouse, we have metal detectors and security.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the only way. There's only one building that up until 3 weeks ago did not have any security. Memorial Hall now has metal detectors.
Oh, yeah.
So now, any event that you go to at Memorial Hall, you're gonna have to take everything out of your pockets. You have to go through a metal detector. Your bags, all the bags are going to be checked, and that will be a secure building for guns. So, the chief, his decision on going back to status quo. Status quo means what it was before.
All for these
Okay,
years.
yeah, is because he thinks that this new law has brought attention to the criminals that they now have gun-free zones,
It's an invitation, Charlie.
that nobody's going to stop them from walking in, because there is nobody stopping them from bringing a concealed weapon in. So the chief, that's his reason. He's not encouraging
No.
more guns in buildings. He's not encouraging vigilante justice.
He's just pointing it
Yeah.
out, what could happen.
And so, having a security background myself, I agree with him. And I talked to one of my constituents who was against this, and the guns in buildings, and I try to tell her who's going to stop the guns from coming in. And she said, well, I think our buildings should all be secured and have security and metal detector. Well, who's going to pay for that?
You're right.
And I said to her, I'm not going to say what her name is, but I said, if our buildings were all secure like that, I'd be the first one to say, no guns, no weapons, because now we can enforce it. Now we can stop them. So what we're doing is stopping law-abiding citizens who have trained to carry guns, are responsible to be able to have that weapon on them, you know, and if something happens, they might be able to prevent a tragedy. So, and that's all.
It happened, Charlie, in church. 3 men
Yeah.
killed the perpetrator.
And I'm not here tonight, I want to make for the record, anybody out there, that I don't carry a gun, I don't own a gun, and I'm not a gun holder. I don't like guns.
I'm a good shot.
But
I'll say
I respect the Second Amendment right to bear arms. It's in our Constitution. I respect it, and I respect gun owners that are licensed to carry, that are responsible.
Yeah.
So that's.
Well, the people that are.
And again, that was, not to cut you, but that was my reason for this controversial vote. That I had no problem voting on this. So.
Well, I thank you for that. I just think it's an invitation. Years ago, they had a no-gun zone around some building, I forget what it was, and the criminal that they caught said it was an invitation. Yeah, I had a gun. Yeah, fresh, right? Fresh mouth. But that made me think, of course, it's a blatant invitation to say, we're vulnerable here.
I agree.
Yes.
And the one last thing on that is, if you pull your gun, show your gun, you have to call the police. Because if not, you'll lose your permit to carry.
Well, we have a right to carry it.
But if you show the gun.
Yeah, don't show the gun.
Because that's a threat.
Yeah.
So unless you have a reason to do that, if you pull it, because the woman said to me, well, now we can arrest people that have guns. I said,
what?
In the bill, I said, if somebody pulls a gun, makes a gesture with a gun.
Oh, they're gone.
And they don't call the police and report and they don't,
Yeah.
they licensed or not, they can be arrested for that.
Right.
So, but anyway, that's, I think
I wonder
we've
what
talked enough
town
about
meeting will
this.
do.
Yeah. Tom, I'm not sure. It's up to, nothing's happened, as the chief said. We've had no incidents, and I hope we don't have an incident because of this. I really don't. But everybody has to vote their conscience. You have to vote your conscience when you vote.
Well, it's more than that, Charlie. How about voting on the law?
There's lawsuits pending right now, and we'll see what happens with that. So, but I'm backing up the #1 law enforcement person in our town, and I'm supporting the chief.
Of course.
On this.
All right, Charlie. Now, there's a proposal at the State House that the town submitted that would raise the meals tax, that would raise an additional cost to the excise bills and hotel. Let's talk about that. I know you're shaking your head. Talk to me.
We can't afford any more taxes. We just can't afford it. It's the climate today. I listen to taxes. That's the one of the #1 things that folks are complaining about. And this meals tax was to help for the town hall. Well,
Right.
now it's going to be continued.
Expanded.
The tax is never going to stop.
They said in
And-
the beginning, watch what happens.
And it's never going to stop. And it'll continue on. It'll be used for something else. So my thing is we have to figure out how to live within our means. Okay? I just don't, and I don't want to, hear, well, it's the tourists that are going to pay for it. It's the restaurants are the ones and the hotels that it gets more expensive, and it's always that industry why is it
They're
always that
whacked.
industry that has to pay for this? And so I just don't think it's a good thing. And forget about an override. I could never support an override.
Oh,
You know,
no.
never support an
Neither would
override.
I.
But,
Do you know, we went to Canada, stayed at a hotel. Not only were all these things on the hotel bill, except for the excise, the meals tax, the hotel tax, they added a CPA tax.
which we're already paying.
Already paying.
We're paying that already.
But it was on the bill.
So if we were going to do something like that and get rid of the CPA tax to the residents, that might be something that you could talk about.
Well, it
But-
was
but-
Niagara Falls,
Yeah.
so they probably make a lot of money
Sure,
by putting
sure they
it
do.
on the hotel bill.
Sure they do, yeah. But I just think we're taxed enough right now. I just don't,
Look at the electric bills.
yeah. Oh,
Charlie.
utilities are,
Oh, my God.
utilities, mine was 800, my total bill, electric and gas last month, and it's gonna be the same thing this month, was $1,097.
Who can afford this? I mean, there are people who can, but people like me and even young family, who can afford it?
Well, we've addressed the state delegation. They're working on it. The DPU, Chairman Quintal has really gotten aggressive on that. And it was explained to us, and I don't want to misquote, but it has to do with the clean energy,
Oh, yes, that scam.
the affordability, for low income. That's what you're paying for. And so it's out of control right now.
Didn't Nantucket just sign a deal with Cape Wind? I read about something today.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we need to find some other alternative energies. We need to.
I liked Dickie's idea of those small
Nuclear.
and they reuse the rods that are, that have been used, which diminishes their power. But if you reuse them, you can reuse them for a while.
Right. I'll be honest with you, Karen. It's hard for me to really speak too much about because it's not one of my expertise.
It's not your lane.
But we need to do what Dickie's doing. Let's start talking to the people and let the professionals try and advise us of what we can do to bring our costs down. It's an issue that everybody's going to be asked this at these forums that we're going to get into, and I'm going to try and really sharpen up my pencil on that and figure out what we can do to try and help this stuff. So it's an issue. That's one of the top issues.
When's that coming up? Do you know?
May 1st is the League of Women Voters. Very important forum.
Okay, yeah.
ATD has a forum.
Right.
May 10th, Plymouth. Is it one Plymouth?
Oh, is that still around?
Yeah, May 10th.
Okay.
We're starting to fill the calendar up. So,
I think that's wrestling, isn't it?
I think so. Steve Bulletin, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I didn't know they were still around.
Yeah. I think every forum's important, so people know who they're voting for. The more forums you have, hopefully the more voters will get out too. So.
Oh, I like all of them.
Yeah.
And listen, it's important for the candidates. And PAC TV here has the candidates night,
Right.
or you get on
Individually.
What do they give you?
I think
5
we-
minutes?
No, I think we come on and we get interviewed. I
Yeah.
believe.
Yes, and you say who you are.
Yeah,
and-
you start off with the opening and the closing. and
Yes.
Is that done as a group? I'm trying to think. No, it's individual.
Individual.
You get tape, yeah.
Yes, taped.
Yeah.
And they give you a day to come in.
Yes, yeah, you get a time frame you can pick from. It's
Yeah.
very relaxed. It's like sitting here with you.
Oh.
You know, very relaxed. And,
Well, we love each other,
Yeah.
that's why.
because we love this town.
Yeah.
We
Well, yeah,
We
Charlie.
love the town. You talked earlier about, doing things for the town.
Oh, you did? Charlie,
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
you setting up things for Dickie. when
Well, I was going to
was,
say, that's my mentor, Dick Quintal, and I have time, I think, so I have
Yeah.
to tell this story, because when my kickoff, I said, and he showed up late.
yeah, he works for a living.
Dickie knew I was going to say something about it.
Oh,
But I said to my first election, I said, I'll tell you the kind of selectman I want to be. I want to be a selectman that's accessible to everybody. I want to be a selectman that answers my phone, that people can call to get information. I don't have all the answers, but I will get the answers. I will talk to the smartest people in the room. I will get information for you. And I learned that from Dickie.
right,
And I'll tell this one story.
okay.
I'm leaving East Bay one Sunday. It's a blizzard,
Oh, yeah.
and it was in January. And
Oh, that terrible blizzard?
it wasn't the terrible one, but it was years ago.
Okay.
And Bert was alive. Bert owned a lobster hut.
Oh,
And so I drive out, and Dickie actually wasn't a selectman. He had lost like the year before.
that time. Oh,
But he's out there between Cabbie Shack and the lobster hut. So I said, what are you doing out here in the snow? And he said to me, it was a Sunday night, Bert's drains are clogged.
oh my goodness.
And tomorrow, his sewers, and he's supposed to open tomorrow.
Oh,
So, they always close for a month,
yeah,
and then it was reopening.
yeah.
So he was waiting for the DPW to come out to unclog the sewer lines in that area.
Yeah.
And I looked at him like,
This
unbelievable.
is who the guy is, though.
That's who he is.
And
that's
you helped him all those
Yeah.
years.
Bereavements,
yeah.
fundraising.
Setting up chairs.
A guy named Dave Gomes.
Oh,
Dave Gomes,
yeah.
who passed away
Yeah.
last year. I love Dave. I miss every Saturday he called me. I love Dave. But Dave, we used to call us the Three Horsemen. And we'd the Three Amigos.
Oh, really?
There was always the three of us doing events.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to take all the credit. We always could count on this restaurant community, the business community in general in Plymouth is so generous. But, we could count on Jimmy Fermanez, Cabbie,
Oh,
KG from
Cabbie.
the Lobster Hut,
Yeah.
East Bay Grill, Sammy and Johnny Visco, the Visco
Oh, the
brothers.
Visco, yeah.
Colin Dillon. I mean,
Yeah.
I could just, was so generous. And would
Always
say,
are.
and they'd say to me, what do you need? And it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Nobody was looking for any recognition.
No.
Nobody, but Dickie got me involved doing that, and we did a lot of great things, and it felt good.
Well, if he was your mentor, now everybody should understand where you come from.
Well, it's I learned from him. You got to
Yeah.
give back.
Yeah.
You got to give back.
Always
So-
give back.
Yeah, give back. And I've met some great people in this community. So
I know you have. Let's talk a little bit about the full sale. You were instrumental. We tried for years, town meeting, CPC, tried to get that property for the community. Take it down, have picnic tables, whatever it was going to be, and we could never get anywhere. The owner would not sell. You did it. Tell the people how.
Well, I'll give you as quick as I can because my wife tells me I talk too much.
No, that's
Not
okay.
just her, a lot of people do, but everybody out there. But anyway, so I grew up in Whitehorse Beach. 6 years old, my father bought a house sight unseen.
Yeah.
I bought that house from him in '87, winterized it in '95, moved with my family, my wife and kids. It was a summer house up until
Yeah.
that point, and moved down there. And then in '95, I sold it to buy a big house in West Plymouth. Whitehorse Beach is where I grew up in the summers. I lived in Boston, and I summered there. And so Whitehorse Beach means so much to me. I actually worked for the Full Sail when it first opened.
I loved it.
From
Yeah.
the time it was open, and I worked the first, and I knew my brother worked there, my friend. So it was a neighborhood bar back then. Before it got
Outdoor.
it got a little bit out of control.
Yeah.
So when that turned into what it turned into with the fire and everything, it was
Yeah,
just it's a complete eyesore.
Yeah.
So when I became a selectman, when I went to White Horse Beach, there's a couple of folks right across the street, one in particular, that every time I saw him, when are you going to take that building down? He used to yell at me
Yeah.
and say, I'm going to get it done, I
I'll
promise
get it
you.
done.
I'm going to figure out how we can do it.
Yeah.
So I started talking about it, and I actually talked to Bill Cohen, he was with the CPC, and he said, oh, we've been trying for years, we really
Oh.
want to do it, and so it never got done. So last year, I was at the White Horse Beach, and it was around the 4th of July.
3rd of July?
I was down there, and the president of the association,
Oh, sure.
JD, I was sitting at his house, and he said, I said, I got to get a hold of Skip. We want to buy this. So he gave me his number. I called him, and I don't know if I have the time frame right, but anyway, I called him, talked to him for 20 minutes, and got him on the phone. And
Well,
got him.
first of all, he likes you.
I used to work for him, and I know him, and
Yes.
he's a character. I'll say that. And
You can be stubborn.
so I passed him on to. I found out that David Gould, who was our environmental director.
Right.
David did Nelson Park. David did Stevensfield. Do I have to say any more about
No.
the work that he does? He's doing the Jenny Grist Mill right now.
Yeah.
So I found out that David, that was one of his wants. He said, I'd like to have beach
Absolutely.
access. And so I told Skip I was going to have David call him. And David talked to him and got the process going. So the process, got a little complicated, let's just say it. And we went to town meeting, we got the appraisal. The appraisal was $655,000. There's 6 parcels of land.
Yeah.
We found out just before the town meeting that Skip didn't own all the parcels.
He didn't own them all.
He did. So it just come out that there
Oh,
was a man named Adams owned 1 parcel. Skip had the
Okay.
other 5 parcels.
oh,
So we tried to negotiate, and so we ended up, and this was announced publicly last week,
yeah,
that we under advice of counsel
yeah.
from, the reason why I'm being careful is because Richard Serkey was there last night asking
Oh.
questions. And I called Richard today, just for the record, if he's watching. I called him, and I texted him to call me, and I'll let you know what's going on with the full sale.
Okay,
And Derek announced it last week
yeah,
that we did a friendly eminent domain taking
that's right.
with Adams
Friendly domain, yeah,
for parcel 6.
yeah,
And we did an unfriendly taking eminent domain from the Facillo parcels.
okay.
And the reason it was unfriendly, because he hasn't responded to us.
Oh,
So 655 is what the appraisal was that we gave to town meeting. Well, we ended up, we got another appraisal, because if you're familiar with eminent domain, the way it works is you can take it for what the market value is, and then the unfriendly one, Adams agreed to the price that we gave him. With the price that Adams agreed to and signed off, that he can't come back,
yes,
and
that
sue
was
us.
important.
He can't sue us. So we paid him $260,000
Okay,
for that parcel. There's a check waiting for Skip Facillo for $270,000. If he wants to fight it in court, he can fight it, but we're confident that the appraisal, it's going to be that, or it's not going to be more than that.
so it's less than what
So
it went
basically, if you followed everything, is 655. If you add that up, that's 530,000. So we actually saved the town $125,000 by doing this. We now own all the parcels, eminent domain, and we get KP Law, who's advised
Yeah.
us, told us it's done. Once it's recorded, we own it. And
Okay,
he's confident that they have no case, that will not win the case. And as far as damages go, we're confident with the 2 appraisals we have that that he possibly could get a few more dollars, but there's enough left that if we had to pay him more, but we don't think that's going to happen. So, it's a win for the town. We get the parcels of land.
Good.
So as it stands now, it's something that I get off too much on how we.
That's okay,
get it.
Charlie.
I'm only doing that because Richard Cirque was questioning how we did this. There was nothing. Everything was above board.
Yeah,
This
I'm
was a
sure.
lot of work. A lot of work got done on this between the lawyers and town manager.
Derek
and
is no
myself
fool.
and David Gould. Okay. So now what we're doing is he's got to get it remediated, get it cleaned up, and then the building will come down. We're hoping to have the building down in June,
Yeah.
before the summer.
Right.
And then we're going to hold off on doing the beautification
Fall.
and everything else after the season's
Yeah.
over, so we don't disrupt the residents.
Right.
And the reason for the full sale, beautification, number one, eyesore, safety, we're now going to have a handicap accessible landing with shade that folks can come and they can sit on chairs, tables. If they don't want to go on the beach, they can overlook.
That's wonderful.
Okay, for the young families that want to maybe have carriages or wagons, they can leave their stuff at the top of the stairs. There'll be handicap accessible ramp and
Yeah.
stairs going down.
Fabulous.
And also the safety portion will be the parking lot will
Across the street.
It's going to be beautified with
Yeah.
different plantings. There'll be a walkway going straight across.
Yeah, what about the walk, because that corner is
So, yeah, what we want to do
crazy.
is take the crosswalk away from the corner and
Good,
have it straight across.
good,
So it's going to be a distance away.
good.
And a good idea, Alice Baker had a great idea about doing an elevated crosswalk similar to what we have down at the bathrooms down in down near AZF, down that way.
Or what about
down in
like
Beach
across from Memorial Hall? It used to light up.
Well, you know
over-
where it is, right down in Whitehorse, where they have the elevator.
Yeah.
Something similar to that, but it will go straight across,
Okay,
right to the full sail. It won't be on the curve.
good.
So
Can't be.
beautification, safety, beach accessibility for our
Thank you,
residents.
Alice.
And there will be parking, and it will be beach, it'll be permit parking, resident permit parking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So it's a win for the town,
that's
yeah,
fabulous.
yeah. There's a lot of
Thank you,
work.
Charlie.
and we got it done finally, so.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about the veterans because I know that's near and dear. I have other things, but I know that they're near and dear, and the homeless and Volunteers of America. Talk a little bit about that, Charlie.
Volunteers, as you know, and Michelle Brady, our Health and Human Services Commissioner, you know, we talk about the resources that we have in Plymouth. It's amazing. And our latest resource was the Volunteers of America opened up a veterans service organization right next to in the Citizens Bank.
Oh,
They
okay.
opened an office.
Oh, yeah.
So I was there for the ribbon cutting.
Okay.
And that's a private organization that supports veterans. So,
Excellent.
And I was there for the ribbon cutting, and I went in and I got a tour. And what they do is they help the veterans with everything from health care, housing, job
Is
opportunities.
this like what Chris Hart does?
He helps veterans too.
Yes.
This is a very organized, and they have there's a lot of money behind them. They have a lot of resources, and they work with Roxanne Whitbeck, our veterans coordinator for the town of Plymouth. They work with the different VFWs, the Legions, but they're a private organization. So,
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you, if anybody comes to me and they need some help, whether it's they need housing, they need health care, they need, first thing I ask, are you a veteran? And if they're a veteran, I tell them to go to this organization. So I toured it, and I saw what they do. It's a place for the veterans to come, and some of them are homeless. You know, and they come
Yeah,
in.
of course,
It's a place
yeah.
where they can go to get warm. They can watch a movie. They can get on the computer for
Yeah.
job searching, hopefully, and they can help them get some benefits, you know, to help them live.
Right.
So it's a great group of people.
Oh, I know the veterans are dear to your heart.
Yep.
And they work also out of Memorial Hall. There's a group.
Yep. Well, our Memorial Hall is a veterans hall.
Right.
There's a section that is for the veterans.
Just for them.
And it can't be touched.
No.
And I commend Joe, the work they've done to spruce that up with
Yeah.
they got the new TVs. They have a thing where you can hit a QR code and you can look up a name and it'll tell you all about your family member or your friend, and it's amazing. They have all kinds. They have a museum that Bob Davidson runs. So I encourage anybody that's interested to get down there and see what they do down there.
Well, thank you for
Yep.
standing up for them,
Yep.
Charlie.
We wouldn't be free today without our veterans.
Absolutely
So
not.
it's very important.
A little bit. We have a few minutes. What's going on with Bert's?
So Bert's is another
eyesore.
and it's not something, you know.
Lawyers own it.
I'm hoping that we don't. What we did with the Full Sail was a much smaller project, and to take that. I know there's folks that would want us to do the same thing, take it eminent domain, but you know, I would like to personally. I'd like to see a project go in there, some kind of a manageable, whether it's a restaurant with retail, something that we get some
I saw.
tax dollars out of it.
I know. I
you
saw the plans of this
It was a pretty
gigantic.
aggressive. Yeah.
It was huge.
yeah.
It's got to be scaled down. But they also want the parking lot.
Right. Well, they need the parking to do any kind of a project.
So what
there.
can we get for that?
If it's the right project, we could get. First of all, it'll be a tourist draw. You know, remember
traffic goes-
remember we're a wedding destination town.
Yeah,
We don't have enough rooms.
right.
So if we did, for instance, and I'm not saying this is the way to go,
Right.
but if we did, say, some B&B, units
Yeah.
that people could to do similar to what they do across from where Killian's is, what Vogel does. They have those units there. A lot of wedding parties will rent those for their weddings, but if we could have, something that would help tourism, help bring some tax revenue into the town, I'd be all for that. And then it would justify letting them have, maybe we could do a shared use of the parking lot, where the town could use it when they're not using it, or maybe during the day, or I'm not sure exactly what the right plan would be, but
It's taking forever. I mean, they have a big red X on it now. Anything happens to that place, firemen cannot go in.
there's a reason for it.
I know.
They own it. We have to make it very clear that I've been in at least 2 meetings with the owner, and they don't want to sell it.
It's a tax write-off for them.
Well, I don't know. He's never told me that. They would like to lease it, and we're not interested in leasing it. But and then if we did the eminent domain, which I know Rich Shirky, I think he was one of the ones that talking about that. How much CPC money do we have left? We just did
none.
Stevens Field.
Yeah,
We've done Nelson. We've done, can we afford to?
it's going to take us a while.
Because that would be millions.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather see somebody private go in there and do it.
CPC money will also be constrictive.
Yeah.
You can't have what should be there with CPC money.
Yeah.
It's too
The point I'm
restricted.
making is I don't want to see public money. I'd rather see private money go in
Yeah,
there and bring some revenue back to us. And that would justify us working some kind of a lease out. I mean, they've had a lease there for I don't know how many years.
oh, my
Always
God.
had a lease there.
But Bert's years ago,
Yeah.
you can't, do you know how many people you'd need to fill? They try to make a go of it. They couldn't,
Yeah.
people. Bert's was the only one that made a go of it. And then the storms came
yeah.
in.
Well, you need to, it needs a lot of love, Karen. It needs
Lot
to
of
be
love.
built up. It needs to, what was there the last 20 years, it was just Band-Aids. It was three
was-
buildings with Band-Aids.
Yeah, and
So-
it was terrible, awful.
But I would love to see, I'd love to see some privately go in, not residential. I want to make that clear.
No,
I want to make that clear. I don't
Yeah.
want to see residential.
no.
I would like to see some commercial development in there, restaurants, some type of maybe
Outdoor
some retail
dining
stuff.
on their
Yeah,
patio,
whatever,
you
something
know.
that would help our tourists,
Right.
you know. So
I was hoping that the motel next door would buy it, you know, and
they
expand.
don't want to sell it.
Oh, they're just terrible.
They've
I'm
been-
sorry.
They've been clear that that's what I got, that they don't want to sell it.
Trust me, they're using it as a write-off. Trust me, you
I know,
don't.
I know. I don't want to speak for them, but
You don't. You know,
yeah.
doesn't take much to understand that. But we're coming up to the last minute, Charlie, and I just want to tell you that I want you to win, and do anything in my power
thank
to
you,
see
thank
you
you.
do that.
There's a lot left to do, Karen. You know, I have a lot left to do. We're working on some projects. We're still working with the DCR. We had another meeting that we're trying to get
Say what the DCR is.
the DCR is the Conservation Department of Conservation,
Yeah.
the old MDC.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
but DCR owns Memorial State Park.
yeah,
We sold that to them in 1934 for $1. They also have the state pier where the Mayflower is.
yeah.
So our goal would be to get control of that, whether we could buy
We had
it,
it once.
whether we could buy it or just have an agreement to run it.
Yeah,
So we could do events. Right now, how the DCR does things, they have the same rules and regulations across the state. I'll give you one example, Project Arts. Sometimes the shows go longer because they have bigger bands that need to break down, that takes them longer.
sure.
10 o'clock, if they're not out of there, they get fined. That's just one issue.
Oh,
but-
that's hostile.
yeah, so there's been some issues, and so we're trying to get control of that. Also, our goal, and I got to touch on this, it's going to be a few years because we need to get the money, capital money from the state to fix that state pier where the Mayflower is.
Oh, yeah.
Extend the pier. The goal is to keep the Mayflower on one side, keep the Captain John, and then have the cruise ships on the other side. So
Charlie,
that's the goal.
so Saturday the 15th, 10-piece band,
Yep,
hors d'oeuvres,
rock the vote.
everybody is welcome.
Come out and have fun, and
I love you.
say hello, and I just have a good time. And,
Have a good, and it's from 2 to 6
and the weather's going to be nice.
at
Hope-
East Bay
2
Grill.
to 6, yep.
I'll
Steve
be
Smith,
there.
Steve Smith and the neighbors.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, next week.